Hello, I'm Jamie and I have decided to do a series of videos for a project that I recently purchased. It's a 1961 Karmann Ghia. It's a car I've wanted for a long time. I bought it from a friend of mine and I just thought it would be nice to do a series of videos, partly for myself as a record. I normally take lots of photographs of my projects, but I thought it'd be fun to do a series of videos of the progress and something to look back on maybe. And also, if it helps anybody along the way, then that's a bonus. I've always appreciated the time and effort people put into making YouTube videos, and in the past they have helped me a lot when I've been building my cars. So yeah, if anybody gets anything out of these videos, then that's great, you know. But yeah, well, I'll tell you a little bit about the project. As I say, I bought it from a friend of mine a couple of months ago, and I've been trying to buy it from him for a long time, maybe 5 years, and it hasn't quite happened. He's at the time when he's thought about selling, then I didn't have the money, and then when I wanted to sell it, wanted to buy it, then he didn't want to sell it, and that kind of thing. But anyway, another car came up that he wanted to buy, so it was an ideal opportunity. So I managed to get hold of the 61 Karmann Ghia from him. The car is still at his. He's kindly storing it for me until I'm ready to be able to start on the body. I live in Finland, and as you can imagine, the winters are quite harsh. We have lots of snow, so I haven't been able to start on it. It's in storage. And anyway, I have first to build the engine. This is a standard 1300. It's not from the car originally, but I believe it's from a Beetle. And yeah, I just want to build a standard 1300 for it. I think that would be ideal. So that's my first thing to get done while we still have snow. It's almost middle of March, so hopefully in a couple of weeks the snow will clear, but I need to get this done first. I'm not an expert engine builder. I've only built one Volkswagen engine before, which was last year, that is actually in this car. So that was a really big learning curve for me. I can't say I enjoyed building it because it was quite stressful, because I'm wasn't sure if everything that I was doing was the right way to do things. But I've now covered 600 kilometers with this engine now, and it works really well. So I'm super happy with that. So this should be easy, right? Yeah. Well, I also, part of the deal with the Karmann Ghia is my friend had this engine, and I believe that it had been running, and he took it apart to check everything because he was going on a big road trip to Germany. And then I believe this is the story, and then he ended up, he had another engine that he then put in it's a 55 oval Beetle, so he ended up using a different engine, and he kindly put all the parts together for me in boxes, and everything's in order, so I can put this engine together relatively easy. The only thing I've done to this engine prior to this video is I took out all the caps from all the oil ways, cleaned everything out, also had to drill and tap them and put these aluminium plugs in. I have actually made a couple of videos of me putting the plugs in, so yeah. So that is the start of the project. So like I say, if anybody gets any help and advice from these videos, then that's great. Also, if you have any tips along the way, I'd be grateful to hear them. So enjoy the build, and thanks for watching. Okay, what we have here is just a 1300. I would like the Karmann Ghia not to be, you know, any performance car. I want it to be just a Sunday cruiser type thing. So I thought that this 1300 would be ideal. I bought the car from a very good friend of mine, and the car didn't have an engine, but luckily my friend had this that he had already stripped. I believe he said before he stripped it, it was running well. He just wanted to do like a nice rebuild and for reliability and everything. And it was going to go, I believe, in his 55. But, well, lucky for me, we struck a deal. Engine was part of the deal. And I was quite excited to build another engine because I'm so experienced now after building the first one. So, so basically what I've done, it was, my friend pretty much cleaned it up, so I didn't have to do too much cleaning. But I don't know if you can see, but I've drilled and tapped all of these plugs, make sure there's no like dirt and stuff like that behind them. Horrible job to do, I must say. I don't particularly like doing it because you always are scared that when you're tapping these holes that it might crack, and I don't fancy welding this magnesium, but luckily I managed to drill and tap them all ready to put, I have some aluminium plugs that are going to go in there, and I've put it through the washer and cleaned all the galleries out and stuff like that. So there is how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the front, and 1 on the top, 1 here on the side, and then round the back here there is another 3. So drilled, tapped. When my friend took the engine apart, he measured everything for tolerances. So I'm hoping that this will be a lot more straightforward than the other engine I built. Okay, so over here on the table, I have the other half of the case, and as you can see, or maybe not be able to see, but I did this, is it Hoover modification, where you use a long drill bit that goes all the way through here and meets up. It actually drills. There is a oil way through these first 3 to the 4th one for the lifters, but it doesn't continue to this bearing here for the camshaft. So all I've done is I've got a really long drill bit, drilled through to here, and then drilled down to connect it. So this half of the case also gets oil flow. I think it's pretty common that probably most people do it, but it's a bit unnerving to drill all the way through, because in the instructions I read that if the drill bit wanders, it can come into this cavity, and then you've got a whole nother problem. But yeah, so I am going to start by putting these plugs in. Okay, so like I said, I've cleaned all the galleries, oil galleries, in a machine we have that has like a detergent, and it also blows compressed air. So after I have drilled and tapped all of these, I've cleaned it up. I was going to bead blast everything, and I decided that I'm not going to, because I think it's clean enough. I think that's good enough. So I am going, so if I can open this with one hand. These are the taps. These are actually NPT, which is pipe thread. And the plugs I'm going to use are these aluminium plugs. If I can get it in focus. I have read, like I say, I'm not an expert, and you can leave a comment if you know better or different, but I read that you should use these aluminium ones because then they expand at the same rate as the case. If you use the steel ones, obviously steel expands at a different rate to aluminium. So I bought these, I think they're MP plugs, and the sealant I'm going to use is like this thread sealant for pressurized systems. So yeah, pipe sealant there. So I'm going to use those, and okay, quite self-explanatory. I just put a glob of that sealant on there, and then use an Allen key, wind this in, and hopefully it's not going to leak. And remember, don't go too tight with this, because you're obviously using a big key. It's quite easy to over tighten, so you just want to nip it up and let the sealant do its job. And you don't want to crack it, do you? I apologize for the shaky camera angles. I am not a pro at this, so I haven't even got a tripod, but maybe I will have to purchase one. But there you go. I'll wipe off the sealant, and I have a few more to go. Okay, that didn't take long. I just put all the plugs in. As you can see, oops, sorry, that was my finger. So there is 3 there, there's 1 here, 1 at the top, 1 on the side, and then round the back here there are 3 more. This has a plug go in here when you put the case together, so that's for a later time. But yep, they're all in. And this is just it's going to be a standard 1300 engine, so I haven't done any full flow remote oil filter. It's just going to be a completely standard engine that's going to go in the Karmann Ghia. On this engine, I did actually put I don't know if you can see it, there's a exit there for the pipe that goes to oil filter that's under here. I took the cover off of the head because it was leaking, and I'm not sure if it's straight, so I need to sort that out. That's why that's off. If you want to know more about this car, maybe I'll post some videos later on, but at the moment we're focusing on this. So I bought the Karmann Ghia from a good friend of mine, and he has kindly put all the parts for the engine inside these boxes. I believe the tinware is all in that one, and the generator, and maybe I should take them off the shelf and go through them. Okay, box number 1. Let's have a look. Okay, there's the carb. Needs a clean up and a rebuild. I think I'll probably buy new pushrod tubes because they are cheap, and just to make sure, because these actually compress when you bolt the heads on. These like springy looking things, or like bellows, they actually compress to form a seal so the oil doesn't leak. So maybe I'll change those. Okay, lifters. The story with the engine is, well, I don't actually know the full story, but I think my friend had the engine running, and for some reason I think he wanted to take it apart and check everything was okay because he was going to do a long road trip, and then decided to use a different engine for his 55 oval Beetle. And then I bought the gear from him, which didn't have an engine, so he measured everything. Everything's within tolerance, and it kind of needs to be thrown together. But the Karmann Ghia, which I will post videos when I go and have a look at it, maybe next month. The Karmann Ghia it has patina and like sunburn. It's from Texas. So I think I'm gonna leave, I'll just clean everything up, but I won't paint the engine because it will kind of match the exterior of the car. Or I paint it. I haven't decided yet. Let's see if I can stop myself from blasting everything and painting it. And yeah, so that's box number 1. Just everything needs a bit of a clean up, I guess, but nothing too bad. Okay, box number 2. We have gasket kit. Even has exhaust gaskets and everything, pistons, barrels, oil pump, and new gauze filter. And down here there's all new bearings. So new seal, new piston rings. I've never fitted those before, so I think they have to, there's a top and a bottom to them if I am not mistaken, or maybe that's different on a Volkswagen engine, I don't know. Like I say, I've only built one engine before, and the engine that's in the 64, I bought brand new everything basically, new barrels, new pistons, and they came assembled. The pistons were actually inside the barrel, so I didn't have to put the rings in or anything like that. And I think the only thing in that engine that was original from the engine I started building it from is the camshaft. I think everything else was so worn out that I had to change it. Okay, shall we have a look in box number 3? One thing I'll add is I think what I'll do is I will change this, like this has a mechanical switch in there that when you energize a coil, it energizes when the coil gets energized, it flicks the switch or makes the contact, and you can get electronic ones of these which are a lot more reliable. So I will definitely change that, because I think they're only like 30 euros or something. So I won't be using this, I don't think, unless I go for an alternator like I have on the other engine. But no, I think I'll just stick with the dynamo and change this, but we'll see, huh? But yeah. Okay, box number 3 has got the heads in. God, it's quite heavy for one hand. So these just need a bit more of a clean up. They are pretty clean as they are. And I might paint those covers. Maybe I have to lap these valves in. You can see that the valves are in there, they're just on the other side, to stop them falling out on the floor, losing stuff. And then you have the studs that go in these holes, that then the heads slide on. You get it, you get the drift, right? Okay, that is box number 3. In the final box, it's just all the tinware and the dynamo and fan shroud, etc. Like I said, I wasn't planning on painting all of this, but I think looking at it after I've cleaned it, I probably won't be able to help myself and clean it all up anyway. And I would like to delete these holes because I'm not going to run any heaters. I always take the heaters off my cars because I never use them in the cold, and if it is cold I just put an extra layer on. So I always normally delete the heaters and put the J-tubes on, etc. So I think probably I'll end up painting this lot after I've cleaned it, and you know, it's just easier, or it's as easy just to blast it and put some paint on. So yeah, so then I'm one step ahead because I've already painted these that I might not be able to use on the other engine, so that's all good. Okay, this is the engine that I built for the 64. It has twin Cadron carbs. It has the 123 ignition, which seems to work really well. It has the Bluetooth, so you can connect it with the app on your phone, and you can change the curves and stuff like that. I haven't really had a chance to play around with it yet, but yeah, I mean, it seems to work really well, and the car runs really nicely and everything. I just done the first oil change on it just before the snow come, so I'm ready to do a bit of testing. It had some oil leaks on it, and one was just like, or there was two, both the rocker covers were leaking. So I've changed the gaskets and checked the tappets and stuff like that, and I think they were all okay. And yes, I know, everybody, you're going to tell me never to have a fuel filter here, but I have, and it's going. I originally put it there just to see that I had fuel flow into the pump and how much dirt was in the tank. But that's going to go. Like I said, I've only done 600 kilometers in this car, and yeah, so that's the next thing to change on this. But yeah, the engine seems to run really well, surprisingly well, and I'm quite pleased with it, especially for my first build. So yeah, like I say, the one for the Karmann Ghia is just going to be just standard, and I think that's enough. Okay, thanks for watching the first video in this series of the Karmann Ghia build. I don't know how often I'll update. I'll update as if and when I do some work. The summer is coming, so the car's not going to be ready for this summer. There's a few bits I need to do on this 64 to get it ready for the summer, so I might add those videos as well if you want to see. Let's see how it goes. But yeah, like I say, I'm not an expert engine builder, so any hints or tips would be welcome. I've learned everything to do with the engine, like from a book or other people's YouTube videos, which I've been very grateful for. And that's kind of why I decided to do some videos, partly for myself as a record of the build. I thought it would be fun. And also, if anybody benefits from anything that I post, then that's really good that I give something back to the Volkswagen community, air-cooled community. So yeah, I'll keep you updated. So thanks for watching. Bye.